Thanks for watching County Report this week. I'm Susan Kennedy. We begin this time with council reaction to County Executive Ike Leggett's proposed operating budget for fiscal year 2013. The $4.6 billion budget includes fully funding the school's budget request and adding 58 police officers. The budget is now in the hands of the County Council, and as Council President Roger Berliner tells us, the Council is approaching this year's budget with cautious optimism.
Well, one, the county executive proposes and our county executive disposes. So we just received the budget. I think it is a prudent framework for our work going forward. So I am encouraged by the general framework, but we will obviously make changes. It's a big budget and we have sometimes different priorities, but in terms of a good start, I think it is a good start to our conversation.
County Executive Ike Leggett and Fire Chief Richie Bowers have recognized several everyday heroes. These are regular folks who save the lives of others during emergency situations. Lorna Virgili attended the award ceremony at the Public Safety Training Academy. Lorna?
Susan, a contractor, a park employee, and a 16-year-old student, all recognized for saving lives and, as mentioned by the county executive, as persons that represent the spirit of this community. These are county residents that performed acts of bravery, and as a result of their decisive actions, several people are alive today.
It is important for us to have extra eyes, extra ears, and people out willing to help and support. This is what we count on, and this is what we have in our awardees today. I want to thank you on behalf of all of our residents for what you've done.
Take the example of Duncan, a 16-year-old student at Churchill High School. He was refereeing a youth soccer game when the senior referee collapsed with cardiac arrest.
Upon him collapsing, I ran directly to him, and we initially, all three of us looked at each other and just thought, we got to get this guy over, we got to find out what's going on. And from that point, then we realized that there was no longer a heartbeat, and so we started doing compressions and rescue breathing, because even though the new thing is that you're supposed to just constantly do compressions, there's only 4 minutes of oxygen in your body, and we realized the ambulance was not going to get here in 4 minutes, so we started doing mouth-to-mouth as well.
Jeff Black, a contractor conducting an inspection in a building, he evacuated an elderly couple from a room fire.
Just inspecting the sprinkler system in the building, and then the fire panel went off, and it said the room, so I just went up there to check. The lady kind of acted like it wasn't a fire. She was like, oh, it's not a fire. I think she was scared. I seen the fire in the fan of the stove up in the range, so I went and grabbed the fire extinguisher and put it out, and then put out a little fire in the sink in the bathroom, and then we just started throwing the trash out, helped the older guy get over to the door, put him in a wheelchair, and got him out.
And Oliver Manuel, a park and planning employee who was driving home when he saw a house on fire, called 911, then knocked on the door of the house and assisted an elderly woman and a young child to safety.
I told the lady that your house is on fire, and she didn't believe me. But look, your house is on fire. We gotta get out of here. Let's go. So I escorted them outside and to stay away from the house, and then I showed them the fire on the roof.
For their actions, they are recognized as everyday heroes, a tribute to ordinary people that take extraordinary actions to help others. For County Report this week, I'm Lorna Virgili.
Montgomery College student Jorge Steven Acuna and his parents were detained by federal authorities March 8th and scheduled for deportation. The issue was brought to the attention of county officials because of the incredible outpouring of support and activism by students at Montgomery College. More than 4,000 people signed a petition and joined a Facebook group in support of the Acuñas and their plight. Recently, the family was released after mounting public pressure and media attention. Supporters, including council members Nancy Navarro, Craig Rice, and Valerie Irvin, gathered at the Rockville Town Center to celebrate the release of Jorge Acuna and his family from a federal immigration facility.
We have to work in conjunction with our federal officials to make sure that stories like this don't continue to happen. You've got a great family here that lives around the corner from me that I represent that now was locked up for something that really realistically, we should not be locking people up for.
The family has been granted a one-year reprieve from deportation after a week of growing media and political attention to this case.
What I've lived through these past couple days is something that I was never really expecting. So I want to say thank you to each and every one of you guys for making this possible, and thank you.
Jorge's parents came to America when he was just 8 years old, seeking political asylum from Colombia. Acuna was an honor student at Northwest High School and is a semester away from graduating from Montgomery College.
We are the dreamers! We are the dreamers!
More than 6,000 students signed an online petition supporting Acuna, and the county council stepped in on behalf of the Acuna family, signing a statement expressing concern about their arrest.
This is an issue about the future economic viability of our country. Young people like Jorge are a poster child. He's a role model for the potential of our youth.
Acuna's story is being repeated across the country. Those immigrant advocates and students who supported Acuna hope his case will support the DREAM Act, legislation that would allow students like Jorge to receive a college education even if they do not have legal immigration status.
And we are here to fight in solidarity with all of you to pass the DREAM Act in Maryland in November.
What I really want this message to be is that it doesn't stop here. It doesn't stop just getting me and my family out of where we were at. Save other people that are like in my same situation. And I feel like that's the most important thing for me right now and for my family.
In other news, the council has approved revisions to the Kensington Sector Plan. The plan will have significant impact on how the business district of the community will develop in future years. The council has been discussing the Kensington Plan for more than a year now. Councilmember Nancy Florine says she is pleased with the outcome of the plan.
We've crafted a plan that's really based on listening to a community. The fundamental objectives here were to create some modest incentive for revitalization within Kensington, see what we could do about the world of gas stations that Kensington has become, preserve community character, and maybe deal with some of that traffic.
The county's Department of Economic Development, together with Executive Leggett, celebrated the success of the county's local biotech investment tax credit program. 10 local biotech companies have received nearly $6 million from local investors. The County Council approved this legislation 2 years ago. Today, a diverse group of biotech companies are already putting these new investments to work to fight disease and improve the health of our nation right here in our backyard. The biotech tax credit allows investors receiving state tax credits to also receive a supplemental payment from the county based on their investments in local biotech companies.
We have monies available. It will start in July of this year, 2012. But help spread the word that Montgomery County is really open for business, and we take biotech as a serious matter. And we want to thank you for what you've done thus far. We want to build on this program because I think that there's a great deal of success ahead for us.
Still to come on County Report this week, we'll tell you why more than 200 residents gathered at Kennedy High School. And county officials say they are stepping up police efforts in Montgomery Village. We'll have that story when County Report this week continues.
In 2007, 2.2 million homes and businesses in Sydney, Australia switched off their lights for 1 hour. This year, Earth Hour is being taken to the next level, with the goal of 1 billion people switching off their lights as part of a global vote. Vote Earth by simply switching off your lights for 1 hour and join the world for Earth Hour.
If you are a recent high school graduate or even a career-changing adult, get your start with us. Montgomery College offers more than 130 programs of study and classes to fit your busy schedule. Apply today. Montgomery College, endless possibilities. 240-567-5000.
Welcome back to County Report this week. Recently, Councilmember Craig Rice and County Executive Ike Leggett participated in a discussion with residents of Montgomery Village about the uptick in crime in that area. They were joined by County Police Captain Willie Parker Alone in the meeting that took place at Watkins Mill High School. Councilmember Rice told residents at the meeting the best way to fight crime in their neighborhood is to stay active.
My job is to make certain that we have the right priorities in terms of public safety, the resources that are needed, and to ensure that we continue to maintain the constant vigilance that we need on public safety. I will put in this budget the resources that we need. I want you to hold me accountable for that, to make certain that the challenges that we see here today and the difficulties we've had in the past is something we're going to put behind us.
Well, this is a great example of where community activism truly enacts and makes sure that things happen in our community. And so a number of residents from Montgomery Village had asked us to address the issues of some of the recent upticks in crime that we've seen over the past few months. And while we knew that crime statistics overall were down for the year, we did see a spike and thought that we wanted to respond accordingly.
There were more than 13,000 Maryland children who were abused and neglected in 2010, tragedies that ended with the death of 24 children. In light of these statistics, Montgomery County Police are stepping up their child abuse prevention efforts, and Captain Paul Starks is here to tell us about it. Captain, it does appear that these statistics are on the rise. What is your department doing?
You know, our officers come across these situations frequently. Right now there's an organization called Fight Crime, Invest in Kids. Their mission is to identify families and parents who may be in need of instruction or guidance as far as parenting goes. This is a voluntary program where they can choose to be enrolled, where an instructor will come out to the home, give younger parents or younger mothers who may just be on the edge, who may be at their wits' end, instruction in how to better parent.
Now, this is sort of a twofold process here, and it does sort of have some long-term benefits as well. Tell us about how it might help those kids in the end.
Studies have shown that children that have been abused or neglected often become involved in crime as teenagers and sometimes serious offenders as adults. What's more is that the cycle can continue as they become parents themselves and may become the abusers.
So the police are out there, and if they see a situation where they believe there might be some intervention help needed, they can go ahead and step in. But again, you said this is voluntary.
Absolutely. We just need some support from local and state leaders for funding and legislation.
Okay, and we're going to put that website up so folks can check into it at home if they're interested. Thank you very much, Captain Paul Starks, Montgomery County Police. Montgomery County School Superintendent Dr. Joshua Starr held his first spring forum at John F. Kennedy High School in Wheaton. The discussion centered on how MCPS is serving students who are English language learners. Here's more.
Welcome everybody to our community forum this evening on English language learners.
Dr. Starr hosted his first spring forum on the topic of English language learners, or ELL. More than 200 parents, community members, and MCPS staff packed the John F. Kennedy High School cafeteria to hear from guest panelists and share their ideas and concerns.
What really helps is to have all teachers go through extensive professional development.
Panelists included Dr. Margarita Calderon from Johns Hopkins University, Principal Matthew Devan from Veers Mill Elementary School, and Dr. Karen Woodson, Director of ESOL and Bilingual Programs for MCPS.
Our ESOL student population is just over 19,000 students.
During small group breakout sessions, attendees spoke about their personal experiences and what MCPS can do to improve its efforts in teaching ELL students. Groups presented their feedback to the entire audience.
And how important it is that we start seeing teaching ELL learners as an opportunity.
While ELL students at MCPS are exceeding state standards for English proficiency, this forum helped the school system identify possible ways to build greater success for this growing segment of the school population. Ideas included more training for teachers, increasing parent engagement in schools, fostering cultural integration, and building better home-to-school communications.
I liked the discussion. I exchanged ideas with different parents.
So I wanted to listen, gain greater insight, and share the anecdotes that I have that maybe will help others.
It's so important to us parents, foreign parents, to participate and to know what's going on.
I think we need to get even stronger support from the ESOL program.
Dr. Starr emphasized that Monday's discussion was just the beginning of a district-wide effort to better serve ELL students.
This is the beginning of a conversation. It is not the end of a conversation. We opened up a lot of doors for us to kind of think about, walk through, and focus on.
Up next on County Report, some experts bring their knowledge on workforce training to the County Council, and how the county is working to encourage the recycling of food when County Report this week continues.
Save time on Election Day. Vote between March 24 and 29 at one of 5 early voting centers in Montgomery County. Hours are 10 to 8, except Sunday when hours are noon to 6. Centers are located at Bauer Drive Community Center, Germantown Rec Center, Preisner Community Center, Executive Office Building, and Silver Springs Civic Building. Visit www.777vote.org during the early voting period for wait time information. You choose the location and date. Remember, your time, your voice, your vote.
Welcome back. How do you design an effective food waste recycling program? Learn from those who are already in the business. And that's exactly what staffers from Montgomery County's Division of Solid Waste Services did recently. Montgomery County hopes to encourage and expand food waste recycling efforts in our county.
As part of their ongoing research into food waste recycling, DSWS staff toured the food recycling program operated by the University of Maryland at College Park. The group toured 3 dining halls and an office building. The tour demonstrated that the university has learned a great deal from earlier experiences. In their newest food waste programs, they integrated lessons learned to improve effectiveness. Their most recent dining hall has gone completely to washable and reusable plates and flatware.
We have compostable to-go containers made of bagasse, so they can compost those, as well as all their cups, napkins, and then obviously their food scraps.
They also rely on trained staff to make the decisions about separating food waste for composting. Late last year, DSWS implemented a pilot food recycling program in the cafeteria located in the County Executive Office Building. This first phase is focused on capturing food waste generated during food preparation. So this effort is focused on separating compostable food waste.
The Council held its 4th Shaping Our Future session, this time addressing workforce development in the changing economy. Much of the discussion focused on trends and strategies for training the workforce of our future.
And yet employers in some sectors have difficulty finding the skill set they often need, even when there are lots of unemployed people in that area.
The panel included Harry Holzer, a public policy professor at Georgetown University, and Karen Elzy, Director of Skills for America's Future. Both stressed the role of the community college as critical in training the workforce of tomorrow.
When you send students to community colleges for training, you give them a broad skill base so that if they have to be retooled later, they can do so. And number 2, you try to make it easier for employers to engage with that system. So again, if employers need to retool, I need a welder, I need a machinist, but this kind rather than this kind, that system is accessible to them.
Our goal is to help change that conversation and make that conversation in a way that employers and community colleges have a more positive conversation, that it's a more long-term relationship. It's not just going to the community college when you have a need, but it's working with the community college to help them identify the curriculum that's necessary and what we can do over the long term, because obviously this is a long-term problem that we're supposed to solve.
So why don't we just show the PSAs?
Officials from Discovery Communications were also on hand to discuss their recent partnership with Montgomery College.
You just might have a real opportunity. Get all the dirt at discoveryourskills.com.
Their program will include internships, resume development, and other programs to help students attain useful job skills. At the county level, Director of Economic Development Steve Silverman says key to the county's success will be turning out qualified workers from our education system.
And we need to make sure that we have a trend that will move in the direction of making sure that folks come out of our K-12 system and right into college and become the workers for those businesses in the future.
What I took away was how important this is to the future of our county, and particularly our young people, and that we have a culture in this county that has been so liberal arts oriented that it has actually done us a disservice to make sure that all our youth understand that it's okay to put themselves in a position to have technical skills, and that so we need to just shift our culture a little to accommodate a broader vision of what education and our workforce needs.
To commemorate the sesquicentennial of the American Civil War, County Report this week is embarking on a series we're calling A Civil War Moment. Made possible by Heritage Montgomery, these monthly segments will focus on the events of the war that touch close to home. Our narrator is Barbara Grunbaum, producer of the documentary Life in a War Zone, Montgomery County during the Civil War.
Toward the end of 1861, the 18,322 citizens of Montgomery County found themselves in a peculiar predicament. 11 states had seceded from the Union after Abraham Lincoln prevailed in the 1860 election. Soon after, the citizens of Montgomery County voted 133 to 131, expressing sympathy for fellow Southerners, but urging the state to make every effort to preserve the Union. Then, after Fort Sumter was fired upon in April and Virginia seceded 5 days later, Maryland legislators took up the debate. In the end, the state of Maryland took no action to join the Confederacy, which worked to the Union's advantage. This is how the state of Maryland, and Montgomery County in particular, became a strategic component in our nation's bloodiest war. President Lincoln knew that the land east of the Potomac River was all there was between the openly rebelling states and our nation's capital. He called for it to be secured at all costs. A myriad of transportation routes already existed in Montgomery County, increasing the city of Washington's vulnerability. There were ferries and fords all along the Potomac River, making it easy to travel to and from Virginia. The recently completed Chesapeake and Ohio Canal was important for getting supplies in and out of Washington, and a network of roads connected the county's communities to one another. When federal troops were dispatched to occupy strategic points in Maryland, many were sent to Montgomery County. By the end of June 1861, 10,000 Union soldiers had encamped at the fairgrounds on Rockville Pike near St. Mary's Church, where Richard Montgomery High School stands today. An even larger number of federal troops moved into Poolesville, where residents were more closely aligned with their neighbors in Virginia. This town of only about 250 people was overwhelmed by the Union presence. A military telegraph was connected to Poolesville, and troops were stationed at Great Falls, Seneca, Middlebrook, and Darnestown.
Oh, ladies.
But there were threats from within as well. Maryland was a divided state. Unionists, slave owners, and even slave owners who supported the Union lived side by side. It was hard to know whom to trust. Martial law was established, residents could be searched without reason, and thrown in jail for no cause. All to protect the capital city of Washington from Confederate attacks. Many consider the First Battle of Bull Run in July of 1861 to be the official start of the war. But the occupation of Montgomery County had already begun. Then, no one knew what was to come. Only now do we know that this was the beginning of the bloodiest war to be fought on American soil. For County Report This Week, I'm Barbara Grunbaum.
When we come back, good news for folks who have dietary concerns. When County Report This Week continues.
MC is holding a parent-student night March 28th from 6 to 9 p.m. on the Germantown campus. Representatives from financial aid, admissions, counseling, and many other departments will be there to answer your questions. A Spanish language session will be held from 5:30 to 6:15 p.m. MC and AFI Silver will host the premiere of the Holocaust documentary Through the Eye of the Needle, The Art of Esther Niesenthal Krentz on March 29th at the Cultural Arts Center on MC's Tacoma Park Silver Spring campus. The screening will be followed by a panel discussion. The event is free, but reservations are encouraged. Spring sports are underway at MC, so plan to check out a baseball or women's softball game or maybe a men's or women's tennis match. For schedules and information, visit our website. For more information about the endless possibilities at your community college, visit our website.
In our Pet of the Week segment, we'll introduce you to a male husky named Calvin. Here's Kathy Stanhope.
Hi, this is Kathy Stanhope with your Pet of the Week at the Montgomery County Humane Society. And tonight we are here with Calvin. Calvin's a real sweetie, as all of them are that we've been doing, but he's particularly nice and he'd really like to have a home. He was a stray. As you can see, he's got an awful lot of husky in him. We think he's at least half husky. And he's got a lot of typical husky qualities. He likes to sing. Have you ever had a singing dog? Oh, there he's going to start right now. He likes to sing. So we're basically saying he should go to a single family residence because he's not a really noisy dog, but he does like to sing when he gets excited. And he's a lot of fun to be around. He's not too wild. He's not, there you're going to compete with me here, Calvin. He's not too wild about other dogs, but he loves to play one-on-one with his owner. He loves ball, but unfortunately being half husky, he's not really a dog that you can let off the leash a lot. Huskies tend to like to run, they like to follow their noses, and they can be hard to get back sometimes. So if you have a fenced-in yard and a single-family house, and you want a nice active dog, he's only about 2, and he will be neutered upon adoption, he is the dog for you because he's very, very loving and very playful. He likes all people, like I said, not too wild about other dogs. But if you want a vocal guy that you can talk to and have a lot of fun with, definitely come down to the shelter and meet Calvin. Give us a call at 240-773-5967 or visit us on the web at mchumane.org. And another thing, if you're looking for a dog, we have, Calvin's not the dog, we have a huge selection of dogs that are listed on our website that are for foster. And you can pick a dog that way. You can go meet him with the foster family. So when you do go to our website, also look at the foster animals available, dogs and cats and all sorts of things. So come on down and meet Calvin. You might go home with your new very best friend because he's a sweetie.
For people who have had to resort to a gluten-free diet because of stomach issues, many of their favorite foods have been taken off their plates until now. Susan Stark at Montgomery Community Media has the story.
For someone with celiac disease, eating gluten damages the lining of the small intestine and prevents it from absorbing nutrients from food. In the last 50 years, celiac disease rates have skyrocketed by 400% in the U.S. alone. That astronomical number applies to those diagnosed with the condition. There are many more that go undiagnosed. A gluten-free diet is used to treat celiac disease. Because of gluten-free pizza, there is one less favorite meal people with celiac disease have had to give up. That brings us to Pasquale's Deli in Damascus.
It was non-existent about 4 years ago. I mean, you couldn't find it anywhere. You just had, and there were no recipes. It was just all kind of starting then.
A lot of people with celiac disease have to avoid eating pizza, but not this one.
When we first started making gluten-free pizza, we were selling about 10 a week. And that's gone up about 40% to about 40 to 50 per week, just by word of mouth.
That word of mouth is bringing relief to a lot of people who have had to give up enjoying a hot slice of pizza.
I think the doctors are more aware of it, and that's where it starts. And then the internet really helps people kind of self-diagnose themselves. But, you know, when you have stomach issues for so long and it's misdiagnosed, you're willing to try anything.
Patrick Maggie received national recognition for his pizza, winning him first place in a gluten-free pizza championship and earning him a spot on the U.S. World Pizza Team. For more information, log on to pasqualesdeli.com.
Well, that wraps up this edition of County Report this week. Be sure to tune in again next week for a look at what's going on inside Montgomery County. I'm Susan Kennedy. Have a great week.